Good morning, Sugar Pies. How we doing? How we feeling? Welcome to PJs and Coffee Time. It is Saturday morning. It's a very gloomy day outside, and I'm not feeling my best, so I'm going to go ahead and apologize if my voice sounds raspy or if I have to cut in and out of this video, because unfortunately I'm sneezing a lot this morning, and so I was trying to kind of wait until it kind of passed over. And I haven't sneezed now in about 20 minutes, so I'm kind of hoping that I'm going to make it through this video without sneezing. But you guys know the routine. Go ahead and pause this video right now. You know what to do. Go into the kitchen, find yourself something great to have this morning or afternoon or evening, whatever time you're watching this video. Coffee, tea, wine, beer, you know what to do. So go ahead and do that. And I'm just gonna sit here for a few minutes and sip on my coffee and kind of like, get myself prepared to get this video out in the open. So go now, go ahead. Man, this is very, very good. I really like this. Put a little hazelnut, like, what is that stuff I put in my coffee? I put some hazelnut non-fat creamer. No. This is so good. I can't wait till my Sugar Pies come back. I'm gonna tell them all about my coffee. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you guys were back. Are you ready to get started? I am. I can't wait. So I'm sipping on some of the best coffee in the world. Every PJs and Coffee Time, my coffee is the best coffee in the world. But this morning I used a little bit of this hazelnut stuff that I have. Actually, what I'll do is at the end of the video, I'll show you a snapshot of it. It's such a good stuff. It's such a good stuff. That was horrible grammar. It is some good stuff. And I had found it at I originally found it at Ross, then I found it at Home Goods, and then I hadn't seen it in a while, and I found a bottle of it yesterday, and I was just like, I have got to get it. Guys, it is so good. It's like $3.99 for a bottle. It's like non-fat. Oh my gracious, so good. So my coffee this morning tastes exceptionally nice this morning. And let me share with you my mug this morning. This morning my mug just says the humble words of create. I don't know, am I focusing well? I feel like I'm not. I don't know. I think there's a bad glare or something. But anyway, the words on there says create, and it's kind of like a cream color mug, and it's one of those mugs that's it's not a circle. It's just kind of like all over the place type of thing. Absolutely love this mug. This is one of the first mugs that I got like a long time ago that I just absolutely love. Got it at TJ Maxx, and I was just like, like I said, I'm into my mugs, and this was, I say one of my first mugs, you know what I'm saying? Like, not one of my first mugs, but it's like one of the first mugs that I started to get into, like trying to find things that were going to mimic who I am. And so create, I was like, I'm very creative. I like to create things. So I thought, I better get this mug. Yeah, so I really like it. I think it's really cute. Share with me what type of mugs you're drinking out of when you're watching my videos. I'm kind of curious, are you having coffee, tea, or are you just sitting there watching my video and not having a darn thing? That's okay too. You do you, boo, okay? So as far as having on PJs today, I actually have on, which in some people's terms would not be PJs, but honestly, when I say PJs, my PJs consist of whatever makes me comfortable. I honestly can sleep in anything. And this is a Hard Rock Cafe man's shirt that I absolutely love. You guys have seen me in videos in this so many times. And today I'm actually going to be doing another video later on today, and you're going to see me in the same outfit because I'm not changing. I mean, I've had my shower, I've done the whole 9 yards, but because I knew that today was going to be kind of a busy day. So of course, I didn't do the face or anything, but I did have a shower and all that good stuff. But what was I saying? Y'all know I've been getting off on my tracks. But this is one of those things that I can wear when people come over, and I don't have to feel like, oh, I don't have on any clothes. So I put on my little, this is that little thing that I got from Ross. It's like a little bralette. Remember when I got this, ladies, gents, Sugar Pies of the world? Do y'all remember when I got this? It is such a cute, like it's like lacy, and it's got some padding in there, so it pushes up my girls just a little bit. It's not a push up, but it gives my girls a little bit of oomph. and it comes down to about right there. I can't pull this. I can't be showing you all of that, y'all, because girl don't have a body like that. Y'all will get scared and won't ever watch my videos no more. So, but yeah, so I thought leggings that I have on, let me stand up so y'all can see them. These leggings that I have on, I bought these probably, I don't know, I want to say 4 years ago, maybe even 5. But I bought these at Ross, and I think I paid like $6.99 for them. And they are the most comfortable. They're very soft. They feel like, I don't know what they feel like. They kind of feel like them sheets I was telling y'all about. They just have a unique feel to them. They feel so soft and spongy like. And of course, when I got them, this is when everybody was wearing the colored leggings and, you know, and you'd have on, you know, like wild color leggings. And I mean, we still can wear the wild color leggings because, you know, fashion is all about what you want it to be. But I don't. So I'm back. Sorry about that. I warned y'all that I was having allergy issues today. I am big time. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to try to make it through this video, 1, without being too emotional, and 2, without having too many allergy attacks. We got a lot of things against us today, y'all, but we're going to persevere. We are going to persevere. We're going to make it, okay? So let me get a sip of this coffee real quick. Oh, goodness, I needed that. Okay, so where do I start? Okay, I met this guy at a time in my life where I believe that I needed to meet him because I needed to learn something about myself and about life at this particular point in my life. Now, I didn't know this at the time. This is hindsight now talking. But at the same time, when I met this guy, I was going through some stuff that I'm not ready to share with you all as of yet. But it was a very, very hard time in my life. I had a lot of things going on that had put me in an emotional state of just not knowing what to do. And every day of my life was a turmoil at that point. And when I met him, it wasn't like, you know, it wasn't one of those, oh my God, I just met this guy and he's adorable and I want to see him and I want to blah, blah, blah. It wasn't even like that at all. In fact, I remember telling my friend, because I can't get into too much about him because honestly, y'all, I know that he knows where I am. I know that he knows I do YouTube. And I know that I know that his family knows that I do YouTube. And I honestly don't want any repercussions from him or his family or any of the million girlfriends that he probably have in his life right now. And you'll understand that a little bit later on in the video. So if I sound like I'm being very vague, that's why. Like I don't want problems from any of them. And so I don't want, like I said, I know that they know that I do YouTube, and I know that there are times that some of them probably watch my videos. And so they will probably see this video. And yeah, so anyway, I just have to be careful what I say. So I'm not going to disclose a lot of personal stuff about him because it would be very easy to figure out the situation. But like I said, I met him at it was a time in my life that I just needed, that I was going through, I needed something. I didn't know what I needed. And I wouldn't have never guessed that I would have ended up in a relationship with him, because that's not where I was going with it. But I remember telling my girlfriend, because when we met, it was kind of a workish type of a situation that we met. And I remember telling my girlfriend, I was like, about him. And I laughed. Like, seriously, I'm telling my girlfriend, the one that's actually coming over today, I'm telling her about this guy and how we talked for like an hour and a half, and how he talked to me about this other lady that he had known and had been in a relationship with, and that, you know, like the relationship wasn't working, and how he was moving out of her place and he moved into his own place and blah, blah, blah. And the funny thing about it is I was like, I couldn't believe he shared so much with me. And I said, and at the time that I was telling my girlfriend, I remember thinking this very thought. he didn't have very much of his own. But never, now I thought that, but you wouldn't have never thought I thought that when I keep on talking about this story. And so my girlfriend was like, well, what did he look like? And I said, I told her, I said, I don't know. I said, he wasn't very attractive. He was like 5'5". He was a little short guy. Nothing to get excited about. I guess he just, and I'm like literally telling her, I guess he just felt comfortable talking to me. And so that was the conversation with my girlfriend. Went on about my business. Well, we ended up coming into contact with each other several times in a very short period of time. A very short period of time. Like I said, we met kind of like over a work-related type of environment. And we would get into some conversations. I shortly realized that I was sharing more with him than I thought that I would ever share with anyone. I was sharing with him about some of my true feelings, some of the things that I'd gone through. I was sharing with him actually what I was going through right now at that moment. I was sharing with him the pain that I was dealing with and the hurt, and how in my life I haven't been successful with having someone to just love me for me. And it was just, and I even thought, like, for a moment, I was like, why am I sharing so much with this guy? Like, I don't share like that. People talk to me, I don't share like that. But for some reason, I was not in control when I was around him or talking to him on the phone, because at this point we'd gotten to the point where we were literally calling each other on the phone. I could not escape like conversation. Like, I wanted to talk to him. I would like look forward to the moment. Like when I would get off work, I'd be like, okay, he can call me now and we can talk. And we would talk literally on the phone for hours. It was unbelievable. And then there was a day that I had to, because of a work-related incident, I had to go and be in his presence. And he walked me to my car, and I went to open my car door, and I turned around to say goodbye. And when I turned around to say goodbye, I realized I was looking at his chest area. And I remember thinking for a moment, how tall is this guy? I don't ever look at a man's chest, like, unless he's like tall. And as I raised my head up, I realized that I had a ways to go. And then we were now looking at eye to eye, but my neck was completely extended. And so I was like, wow, this guy's like tall. And I was like, is this the same guy? Like, I seriously was like mesmerized. I was like, why did I think you were short? And at the moment that I'm thinking this, he leaned in and we kissed. And y'all, when I tell y'all that this kiss was something like I'd never felt before, it was a kiss that I had never felt before. I have, to this day, I've never experienced a kiss like that. I've never experienced another kiss like that particular kiss, that particular moment. It was one that I felt all over my body. I felt totally like not in control. Like I felt like I had left my body and I was in some other, like, I don't know. It was just something that just went through my body. I felt a feeling of love and safeness and comfort. And I never ever in my life felt all of that at one time, ever. And I remember I became very weak in my knees. I was very nervous. I was like, oh my God, what's going on? Why am I feeling this way? What's happening? It was a feeling that I wasn't comfortable with. And I remember looking at him, excuse me, sorry about my voice, y'all. And I could see that he was getting some kind of a vibe himself. Like there was something that was taking over the both of us. And it was just so weird. It was so like unexpected. I ended up leaving kind of like abruptly because it was just overwhelming. And we ended up conversing on the phone, trying to figure out what all that was about. And, you know, things kind of progressed really fast at that point. We had the conversation about what this was all about. At the same time, it was like, but we don't want to be apart from each other. We need to see each other again. This is something we got to figure this out. Now, mind you, I still felt like I didn't know if I should be in a, like, even trying to have a relationship because of the state of mind that I was in and because of the things that I was going through. But at the same time, I was not able to walk away from it. Like, I physically could not escape it. I wanted him. I longed for him. I mean, I, like, seriously, like, it was like a drug. Our first real encounter, where I had gone to his home one morning, his job was a job that basically he worked nights, and we were going to have breakfast one morning, but he was really, really tired. So I decided to take him breakfast, and needless to say, that breakfast turned into an all-day event. Like, I didn't leave his house all day, and it was the best experience I'd ever had in my life. We're all adults here now, so I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to tell y'all the gruesome details. Okay, there's something in my eye. My eyes are burning. Oh, y'all help me, these allergies. I'm not gonna tell y'all the gruesome details, but y'all know what I'm saying when I say it was out of this world. And I contribute that to being the fact that I was so into this guy, and I felt like he was so into me. There's no way that we could not have been into each other to have the emotions running the way they were running between the two of us. In order for us to perform the way we performed, there had to be something coming from two people, like something out of this world. Like, when I tell y'all, it was an experience, y'all. It was an experience, okay? I won't leave it at that. Y'all can let y'all imagination run anywhere y'all want it to run, but it was an amazing experience. And that day was the most amazing day of my life. Like, it was beautiful. I didn't want it to end. And our relationship just continued to grow. Like, we just connected in so many ways. I shared. He made me feel safe. We talked about what we wanted out of life. And I never, ever entertained the thought of having another child with anybody. Yeah. I even talked about having another child with this man, knowing my butt didn't need to be even having a conversation like that. But I did. That's how much I wanted him. That's how much I felt loved by him. Well, all of a sudden, things just, I guess I started noticing things that, I guess, how they say when the newness kind of wears down. Now, nothing had changed. The passion that we had between us was still unbelievable. But I think more reality was setting in, because it was like, one can't live by love alone. You know what I'm saying? So I started asking questions like, I realized that we were doing a lot of staying home. We weren't doing a lot of going out. So I was like, hey, let's do some stuff together. Let's go places or whatever. And then we started talking money. And I realized that he didn't have, as he explained to me, that money was not something that he had a lot of. Now, I should have taken into consideration the conversation that I had, the very first conversation that we had, when I said that we had a conversation about him talking about a lady that he was with, and that he basically was living, like common sense would have told me that he was basically living off of her. But this part of me was not hearing that. Like, I now have forgot that I heard that. You know what I'm saying? And I placed him in, he's working hard, and he's gonna, his business is struggling a little bit now, but things are gonna be fine. Like, I didn't put two and two together. So then, things were happening that were just unexplainable. He would tell me he had to go out of town for work, which, when he would go out of town for work, I couldn't reach him. He wouldn't answer. There was a time that I was at his house, and a girl rung the doorbell, and he said it was an ex-girlfriend. He explained that, she was having a hard time getting over him, which he'd mentioned this girl to me before. He told me that, that was his last relationship, and that, that it was over and done with. But when she had rung the doorbell, he was like, she's having a hard time getting over me, and now that she knows that I'm seeing someone, she's really having a hard time. Now, I remember saying, well, how did she know that you're seeing someone? And I think his answer was, she kept calling one night, and I told her, like, don't call me anymore. I'm in a relationship and I don't want you to interfere with it, or something to that nature. And I was like, oh, okay. Still not figuring things out on my own. Then I remember one time he went out of town again, and I called his phone, and a female answered his phone. And she was like, he's busy right now. And I remember thinking, okay, but I was like, who is this? Like, why is this person answering his phone? So when he came back, I said, hey, I said, because like he called me back the next day. So I asked him, who was that? And he said it was one of the ladies from his work. Like, they were doing a seminar, and that was one that his phone was sitting on the thing, and she just answered it. Well, now, y'all, come on now. This girl know better than that, because who picks up a person's phone and just answers it? If you were at a seminar and he was like, well, she's a good friend of mine, like, you know, we've known each other over the years, she just answered my phone. I was like, but I bought it. I bought it like a fool. I bought it. I was like, okay, like, I was so in love with this guy. I so wanted this guy. I so wanted him. I could not believe anything other than he was the perfect man for me. Things like this happen so often. I remember getting a phone call one time from a female that told me she knew where I lived, and told me that I'm living in my cute little blank type of a house, and like that he had taken her to my house before. She knew where my house, she described a couple of things inside my house. And I was like, how would she know that? And so I remember asking him about it, and he was like, I don't know how. He goes, again, another ex, someone else from his past. He was like, there's no way she would know anything about your house. And I said, she said something about me having this particular thing that I had in my house. And I said, either you told her about it, because or she really came in my house. And so he was like, oh, honey, you know, baby, you're being paranoid. Like, you know, I told you that, you know, I had a past. And now let me go back a little bit, because you guys need to understand. In our course of talking about our past, he had shared with me that he had a pretty, not my kind of guy type of a past. Like, he had a lot of issues with women and baby mama drama. Now, I had never dealt with anything like that in my life before. And all of a sudden, I'm willing to just, okay, I can do this. It's all good. I can handle baby mama drama. But these weren't your typical baby mamas that I was used to. These were tough baby mamas. And these were women that, let's just say he and I were from two different worlds. And they were very different from me. And they were very voiceful, boisterous, whatever. They said how they feel. They didn't hold things back. So I was trying to handle all of this, but the thing is that I was willing to do it. I was willing to take on anything because he made me feel safe. He would tell me things like, you know, baby, I got you. Like, you know, don't ever let these women like scare you. I'm with you 100% of the time. Like, if you need me, I'm there. Like, I will never let anybody come between us or hurt you or anything. And, you know, and that part of what he would say to me would make me feel so loved and so safe that I would just be like, okay, like because I needed that. And honestly, y'all, I never had that in my life. That was one of the things that I would always say that I want so badly. I want a man in my life that's going to love me and make me feel safe. And I never had that. And I think that's one of the reasons why I just was so drawn to him, was because he had that ability to pick me up and put me in his arms and literally save me from the world. That's the feeling that I got from him. And so because of that, I could not escape him. I could not let him go. And, you know, there were times that I knew that he was not, that I needed to run, like that, All of these things were signs of something bad. But I would go to him and I would be like ready to tell him it's over. I can't do this anymore. I want, we need to go our separate ways. And he would grab me in his arms, make love to me, and I would be totally back into him again. Like I could not escape him. I longed for this guy. And then I remember one day, I was coming home and there was these guys, and I was walking up to the door, and there was these guys like literally like right like on the street, like right there in a van, and they were coming towards the house, and they were driving their van. As I was coming towards the house, they were driving their van by. One of them opened up the door to the van, and they spoke Spanish, and they were saying stuff in Spanish. Some of it not so pleasant because I could understand some of the words that they were saying. And so I started walking really fast, and I got in the house, and he was there because he was there waiting for me. And I told him what happened, and he jetted out of the house and, went down the street looking for them. They had already gone away by the time he got out to where they were, like where I told him they were. But like those kinds of things made me feel so safe. And like I never had anybody to care whether I was home safe at night, and he would call me and every night to make sure like, are you home? Are you tucked in? Are you like the things that he did just made me feel like I was so loved. So that to me at that time in my life, it overrode all the other stuff that was going on, like the women and the phone calls. And now when I think about it, like later on when I thought about it, like the lack of having money, like he literally, okay, my camera shut off. He literally would, I would ask him like about finances and stuff like that, and he would give me all these crazy stories, and I would not, like the crazy stories that he would give me, I would just buy into them even though I knew that they didn't sound right, and then this guy went so far as to use another female, one of the other females that he was with, had been with, or still was with. He used her card to buy groceries for me one time because I had made a comment to him. I was like, I spend a lot of money. Like I don't have money to just take care of a person. And I spend a lot of money because you spend a lot of time with me. And you need to be contributing something to this little thing that we have going on here. And so we went to the grocery store, and I didn't know it. He paid for it with a debit card. And later on I received a phone call. And she said, was it a blue card, blah, 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 blah. That was my card. That was my money. He asked me for money to take you to go grocery shopping. I was like there were so many things that were happening. The relationship, at this point, I started to realize there's something, I think that phone call was the phone call that made me start to realize that there is something wrong here. I need to do something. And then it was getting close to the time that my son was coming back home. And I'm very, the one thing in this world, the thing that made me stand up to my ex-husband was my son. The one thing in this world that will snap this woman into reality is that child that I gave birth to. For whatever reason, you can do whatever you want to do to me, but that little boy, which is not a little boy anymore, that baby of mine, this girl will kill you over him, okay? Because he's all I have in this world. He's all I have in this world. So I knew that something had to change. I need to make a decision because I can't bring this man into my life knowing all this weird stuff is happening. I can't have my son around women calling, threatening me, or telling me I'm with their man, or telling me that they paid for my groceries, and and I was like, I gotta do something. So it was a moment of truth between him and I. I told him, I said, look, we need to, I didn't want to end the relationship. This is what was sad about it. I didn't want it to end. I wanted him to just miraculously tell me that he was going to be able to take care of me and that all of these women were going to go away. This is what I wanted him to say to me. But I realized he couldn't say that to me. He didn't want those women to go away. Those women were taking care of him in every kind of way you could imagine. It was as if everything that he was getting was coming from those women. Now that I think about it, he never had a place of his own, really and truly, because I realized that the place that he was living in, he shared with a roommate. That actually the place was his roommate's first. So, okay, camera, please focus. Okay, so the place that he was living in, when we first met, And he basically moved in with me during that time frame of our life because he was with me a lot. So he basically lived with me. I realized that he didn't have anything of his own. And when I tell you, like I said, we had shared, like, I knew that he had a crazy past, but I didn't realize to what extent. Oh, I think I realized it. I just didn't want to realize it. But I think what was making me, knowing, when we had the conversation about my son coming home and knowing that I needed to make a decision based on my son's healthy, I knew I needed to make a decision based on what my son would be involved in. And so that was driving me more to say, you know what, we need to end this if we can't fix it. Even though initially I said, you know, I wanted him, like I said, I wanted him to just come to me and have all the answers. And he never could. So the day came that I had to tell him that I needed things to end. That was the most dreadful day of my life. Like, I cried. We had the most beautiful weekend. And the sad part about it is, I think he knew. Like, I think he knew he'd finally run the course. And I think that, honestly, I choose to think, for my own well-being, that this guy loved me in his own way. But he came from the other side of the tracks, where he wasn't used to being anything but what he was being. And he didn't know how to be that guy for me. He was used to using women and having women take care of him, because I think he offered something to him. There was a part of his past that made people be drawn to him from something that he used to do in his life, that he was in a professional world, and I don't want to get into what that was, because like I said, I don't want his family to see this video and everybody be able to figure out everything that I'm talking about. But he was a person that people saw at a time in his life, and they knew who he was. And I think because of that, women were more drawn to him, and they didn't mind doing things for him because they wanted to be the one that was saying, I'm with him. And so he'd become accustomed to that life. And he knew that life is the life that was comfortable for him. And here I was, this woman, even though I was a very independent woman, I needed a man that was going to be a man for me in more ways than just protect me and being able to be a man in the bedroom. I needed him to be a man on the outside, protecting me financially, not just physically. And I think he knew that it had run its course. And I think he knew that it was time. So we spent our last weekend together. We never left my home. We did spas. We stayed in our bathrobes. It was the most loving experience of a weekend I'd ever had. We ate together. We just talked about how much we loved each other. But I knew that I needed to end this relationship, and he knew that I was going to end it. And even though I was telling him I don't want to end it, that I wanted him to just come clean with me, and he couldn't do it. And I think he knew that because he couldn't do it, that I was going to leave. And so that was the last weekend that we spent together as a couple. I told him that my son would be home, and I needed my life to go back to the way that it was. We said our goodbyes. I wanted it to end really on a good note, but he didn't end it on a good note. I thought we had ended it on a good note, and then one day he showed up on my job, and because he still had the key to my place, and he gave me the key back. He put it on my window of my car, I should say. He didn't come inside my job. And he left me a very nasty, nasty note about basically just saying some really horrible things to me, like I was the cause of all of this, and that I lied to him, and all this kind of stuff. And I never lied to him. I always told him about everything that I'd been through, and all the things that I was very upfront with him about everything about my life, relationships I'd been in, how I wasn't sure that I needed to even be in a relationship right now, but we both made the decision to continue on. And the funny thing about it is nothing happens on my side that would really, like, I was always legit with him. Like, everything that I needed to do or had to do or whatever, I was legit with him. Like, this is what's happening right now. And he, on the other hand, everything that he was telling me was lies. So I was like, I don't get how I'm the bad guy here. Like, you chose to, you know, like, you knew that I had like what type of life I wanted, I needed, what I'd been through, what I was going through, and how I told you I could not ever do this again. Like, I can never, like, I'd share with him, like, I was in a predicament before, like, I was in a predicament where taking care of a man, basically being like like, I was basically being like a breadwinner, and I couldn't do that again. Like, I shared those things with you prior to us even getting into a relationship, yet you continued to be with me, perpetrating like you were able to take care of yourself, and you weren't. You weren't even like you were able to take care of me, and you weren't even able to take care of yourself. So, like, this was things that we had discussed along the way and trying to figure out how all of this was going to work out, but it never did. It never did. I mean, we could never make our conversations work to where he would understand where I was coming from and I would understand where he was coming from. But yet we would still end up back together, embraced in each other's arms, because I couldn't let go. Like, I literally had a female tell me one time that, and I'm kind of all over the place, but this just came to mind, that she had spent the weekend with him, one of the weekends that he was out of town. Yep, had that happen to me. And y'all, I went right back to him. I sure did. Could not escape this guy. So when he put the key on my car and he put that nasty note, that hurt me so bad. And what hurt me is because I never want people to think bad of me. Like, I'm a good person from, like, way down in here. And even though he was doing all those things to me, the thought that him thinking bad of me made me feel bad. Crazy, right? And then I thought about, I had met his family. I met his kids, some of his kids. He had a lot of kids. I met his kids, a couple of his kids. And I knew that he was going to tell them some horrible stories about me. And that bothered me so much. I was like, I don't want these people to hate me. I went into this relationship being honest and open with him. He came into the relationship with me with lies. But I know to this day that his family knows nothing about the lies that he told me. They only know what he told them about me. And I know that he told them some pretty horrible things, because he told me he was going to. Like, he told me, like, basically what he did was the things that I shared with him, he turned them around to make it look like I was doing these horrible things. Like, not like the cheating stuff that he was doing to me, but like that I was doing, like I had lied to him about my life. And I hadn't. I'd been very honest with him about my life. And so I've not ever spoken to any of the members of his family. I've not spoken to him since the day we said goodbye. I take that back. Well, I didn't speak to him. I actually sent him an email about a year later, or no, maybe 6 months later. I did send him an email, and I told him in the email, basically, like, I explained to him how I was feeling, and that I hope that he has a good life, and I hope that, because in his letter, let me say this, in his letter he put in there, and this is what, like, later on when I had the opportunity to sit down and think about life and really put my thoughts together, I realized that he had put in his letter that he was going back home to be with a woman that he knew would take care of him, and she loved him unconditionally. Keywords being take care of him. And that's when I, reading that, I was like, he knows no other way. He doesn't know how to take care of a woman, how to be a family where he was where he was providing. Like, he didn't know how to do that. And part of that gave me peace, because I was like, it's a pitiful situation. He doesn't know any better. Like, even though and I really do feel like he loved me, I just don't think he knew how to be the man that it would take to be the man for me forever after. So when I wrote him that email, I kind of expressed all that in the email, and how that I was saying goodbye now, finally, forever and ever. Like I no longer had him in my heart. I had him, that I would always wish him well, but he no longer controlled my heart, and that I was finally free of the pain of loving him. And my phone's going off down there. And so it's, that part set me free. And to this day, of course, we've never spoken. There's no conversation, like, you know, years later, there's no conversation between the two of us or anything. Do I ever wonder, like, what's he doing in life? There are times that I do wonder. He was definitely a bad guy. He was definitely a guy that I should not have been with. But at the same time, I feel like I learned some valuable things from that whole situation. And I'm so thankful for the things that I learned from it. You know, now, even to this day now, when I talk to people and they're attracted to the wrong type of person, whether it's male or female, they're attracted to the wrong type of person. That person from the other side of the tracks, the person that cheats on them, and they go right back to their bed the next day, or like they forgive them for everything. That person, I understand. I've been that person before. And so many people have no idea the story about me at all. There's only 2 people that I've ever shared the story with. And when I think of the story, it makes me so sad, because I loved him so much and I wanted everything to work out, but we were just 2 different people. He could have never been the man that I needed him to be. And I guess in hindsight, I could never be the woman that he needed me to be, because I could not take care of him. I wasn't going to provide for him a roof over his head and be his source of living. Like, I needed, you know, I needed someone to be able to be there for me in that way. So I hope the story time wasn't so crazy. I had to kind of like leave out things and had to be very careful at how I worded certain things. So some of it may not sound like it make a lot of sense, and I kind of had to go back and forth a little bit. So I do apologize. I hope it made sense to y'all. Bottom line, one of the things I do want to share with y'all, if you are watching this video and you're a person that have a similar situation, or you've been through a similar situation, or you have a child that's going, because I think for so many people, they have, you know, you have family members or friends that go through these situations, and you really want to be angry at them, and you really want to be like, I don't know what their problem is. Why won't they leave that person? Try to be a little bit more understanding, because I can tell you that from experience, that even though you might know that it's not the right thing, sometimes those emotions are just so powerful that you just can't escape it. That was me. I knew every single time that those things would happen, all the events that happened, I knew better. I'd never been through any kind of experiences like that in my entire life. And here I was receiving phone calls, having situations, taken to parts of towns that I had never been in before, because that's where he wanted to go. And I'm like trying to hang in there, be his cute little girlfriend, and like be like, I got this because my man taking care of me. I'd never been that kind of girl before, and here I was, that girl. So be understanding when you have friends, family members, or even if it's your child. Sometimes things just have to take its course. When I tell people, when it comes to love, nobody can make that decision for you but you. Not your mother, not your father, not your sister, not your brother, not your best friend. You have to be the one that open up your eyes and see it for the first time, and know that I need to let this go on my own, because other than that, it will never happen. So if you are going through it, you recognize this as being something that you're dealing with, or it's you, your time will come. You will figure it out. You will be able to escape it. And when you do, you will bounce back. I promise. I promise. Like I said, I never would have imagined. And now I'm sitting here able to have this conversation with y'all, and I'm able to do it without tears running down my face and without hesitation, because I know that was a learning experience for me, and God placed me in that situation so that I would learn more about myself and know about that side of life, because I never had experienced that side of life. Now I have that knowledge in me. Now I'm able to recognize that even more. Even though I could recognize it before, now I'm able to recognize it in a way that I know that how to put the brakes on, you know, how to, and I'm able to talk to other people that are going through things like that, and I can understand, and I can be in their presence of what they're going through and not be judgmental, and know that this will pass for them as it passed for me. Okay, that's it, ladies and gents, sugar pies of the world. I need to stop talking. This is going to be a super long video, considering the fact that I don't feel well. I've sure talked a lot today, but this is one of those videos that I knew that there was no real short way to do it, and I still left out a lot of things, and I know that some of you might be confused. So if you have questions for me about this particular situation, feel free to comment below and ask me those questions. I'm getting ready to start sneezing. Feel free to comment below and ask me some questions. If you need to email me personally and ask me personal questions about it, feel free to do that. Also, if you need to share with me something that you went through and you want clarification, or like even maybe like how do I become you? How do I be able to walk away? Feel free to email me, and I will definitely have a conversation with you off the broadened path here, where no one can know what we're talking about. Okay, so I need to end this video before I have another allergy attack. I can feel it coming on, so I'm gonna have to say this really, really fast. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me for PJs and Coffee Time, and I'll see you guys in my very next video.